What is neuroscience? Neuroscience is the scientific study of the brain, spinal cord, and the network of nerves that controls and communicates throughout the body. Think of it as trying to understand how the human nervous system works. A simple example: suppose you see a flower. One, your eyes detect the flower. Two, signals travel through nerves to your brain. Three, your brain processes the information. Four, you recognize that is a flower. Five, you may remember having seen a similar flower before. Six, you may feel happiness or interest. Seven, you can decide to touch it or smell it. Neuroscience studies every step of this process. What does neuroscience study? It tries to understand memory. How do we remember things? Thought. How does the brain produce thoughts? Emotion. Why do we feel happiness, fear, sadness, etc.? Sleep and dreams. What happens to the brain during sleep? Vision and hearing. How does the brain interpret what our senses detect? Movement. How does the brain tell our muscles to move? Language. How do we understand and produce speech? Brain body connection. How does the nervous system influence the rest of the body? Consciousness. How does brain activity produce our experience of being aware? One fascinating point: your brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons, nerve cells. These cells communicate with one another through electrical and chemical signals. And somehow, from this enormous network, we experience. I see, I hear, I remember, I feel, I think, I am. Scientists understand many individual pieces of this puzzle, but how all of it produces consciousness is still not completely understood. That is why neuroscience connects so beautifully with the question you asked earlier about dreams and consciousness. When we say this food is good for the brain, it does not mean that the food directly makes you more intelligent or immediately improves memory. It is usually means that the food contains nutrients that support the brain's normal structure and function. What does that actually involve? Your brain needs a continuous supply of energy, mainly from glucose produced from carbohydrates, healthy fats, especially omega 3 fatty acids, which are important components of brain cell membranes. 3. Protein provides amino acids needed to make many brain chemicals. Vitamins and minerals such as B vitamins, iron, iodine, zinc, and magnesium, which participate in brain and nerve functions. Antioxidant compounds found in many fruits and vegetables, which keep help protect cells from oxidative damage. An important distinction: there are two meanings of good for the brain. One, supports normal brain function. A balanced diet provides the nutrients your brain needs to work properly. 2. Proven to improve a particular brain function. This is a much stronger claim and requires good scientific evidence. For most individual foods, the evidence for dramatically improving memory or preventing dementia is limited. So, if someone says walnuts are good for your brain, a more scientifically accurate interpretation is walnuts provide nutrients and plant-based compounds that contribute to a healthy diet and may support brain health, but eating walnut alone does not make the brain healthier in a dramatic or guaranteed way. And this is especially important with aging, overall dietary pattern, physical activity, sleep, blood pressure, diabetes control, and social mental activity generally matter much more than any single brain food.